Hey guys, we have a very special guest with us today. Miss Parinita is a CA by profession and an entrepreneur by passion. Not just an entrepreneur, she's a corporate trainer, a visiting faculty member at the ICAI, and she's conducted more than 17,000 training sessions for students and faculty members and professionals. And in addition to all of this, she's a lovely person. So thank you so much for taking out time, Miss Parinita.
Thank you so much, Vedant. I love the last part.
So you have a brand which you run, which is Portraiture. But before we get to that, so I've given my introduction, which is taken from your LinkedIn. So let's say if a 10-year-old were to approach you and ask you that, what do you do for a living? How would you explain it?
Interesting. Okay. Uh, so I've conducted sessions for 10-year-olds also. But frankly, I've never, had this thing of introducing myself. But a very interesting part. If a 10-year-old asks me this question, so very simply, I will put कि जब मम्मा आपको बताती है कि लोगों से कैसे बात करना है, कैसे ग्रीट करना है लोगों को और जब गेस्ट आते हैं घर पे, आपके रिलेटिव्स आते हैं घर पे, तो आप कैसे बिहेव करोगे? स्कूल में कैसे बिहेव करना है? फ्रेंड्स के साथ कैसे रहना है? कैसे बात करनी है? तो वो सब चीज़ें मैं आपको सिखाती हूँ। आई कैन पुट इट
That's a nice one. That's a nice one. So now coming to your baby, your brand, Portraiture. How did you conceptualize it? How was Portraiture born?
Okay. So uh, before portraiture, I was with my family business for 5 years, and then all the shadi things started happening, and so portraiture has a very interesting story why I started portraiture. So when I was having this, I had this arranged marriage, a very typical setup, and when in arranged marriages you share biodata. So when my biodata went to my to be, husband, he opened his email and he saw name CA Parinita Adukia from NM College. Immediately he shut the laptop. He's like, I am not marrying this girl. So, I don't know, good luck or bad luck, but the person standing beside him, his colleague, happened to be a CA from NM College. So she said, Ki, Are, just open the biodata again because I think I know this girl. So she made him open the laptop and she's like, I know this girl. Don't worry, she's fantastic. And when she asked, why did you shut this thing? He's like, CA है, NM से है, कितनी बोरिंग होगी, ना बात करना आता होगा, ना कपड़े पहनने आते होंगे, मतलब no, I don't want a boring person in my life. A very, traditional, a very boring person. Because
Right.
he was working in a MNC. Of course, he had seen the finance department and all. So, but still, family pressure, we met. And in the meeting, towards the end, he told me, You're not like a typical CA. And trust me, I didn't understand at that time. I'm like, where's this coming from? Matlab, what do you mean by that? Matlab, abhi humko CA ki baatein karni thi. Was it related to that? But I didn't, of course, it was my first meeting, and also I didn't pester him with all those questions. I later asked him, Ki, what did you mean when you told me in the first this thing that you're not like a typical CA? So he said, yeah, CAs are so boring. Matlab, they don't even know how to speak properly. They don't wear very good clothes. They're not very well kept and all. And it really, really struck me ki I started taking, thinking about my friends who are CAs, my GMCS days, what kind of crowd that we had, what kind of CAs am I interacting with, and actually it hit me that yes, there is this, and he's a MBA. My husband is a MBA, so that presentation wala hamesha rahega types.
Right.
So it really struck me that there is this gap, and it somewhere I felt very bad. And I was already in teaching. I used to teach, so and my husband is a trainer.
Okay.
So somewhere I got inspired by him, and I'm like, okay, this is something that I really want to uh, fill this gap of the CAs. And I approached the institute. I got, to know ki what are the criteria, how do you, start training. I got training myself. ऐसा नहीं कि मैं बस घुस गई. I underwent a training, proper official training of how to become a trainer, because teacher and trainer में difference होता है.
Right.
तो वो difference करने के लिए I upskilled myself. Then I started training at the institute, and it's still going on. And I love those days that I spent there. My time there. It's lovely.
Interesting. That's such an interesting story. And I can relate because I am working as a personal financial professional myself. So there is this stereotype कि finance वाले थोड़े boring होते हैं. So we actually have to take the extra step to show that we are not that boring here.
We are not that boring, right?
So there was a time, like maybe 20, 30 years back when you spoke about branding and marketing, these were restricted to companies. But today, personal branding and building a brand as an individual is becoming more and more important.
Yes. So previously, the thing is, personal branding as a concept was always there. See, we always traditionally we have followed leaders.
Right.
के महात्मा गांधी है या तो नेल्सन मंडेला है. All these are personal brands, brands in themselves. But actually, getting these terms to people, are regular citizens like us, that is something which is new, and people have started understanding that you have to present yourself in a particular way to beat, because there's hell lot of competition right now.
Absolutely. Yes.
The world is very, very competitive. So, and it's also very visible. Visibility बहुत बढ़ गई है. पहले इतना था नहीं ना, मतलब people you know personally, that's it. But अभी because of the social media, because of networking so much, visibility इतनी बढ़ गई है that now people have started understanding कि yes, there is something that we need to present ourselves in a particular way. So that's why these personal branding concepts have really come up.
Right. A very important aspect of personal branding is public speaking, which is something that still gives a lot of people nightmares. In fact, I mentioned it to you before this our conversation. I was super nervous as well. And so, what's your advice for people who are nervous of public speaking or who shy away from public speaking?
One of the reasons, the major reasons that I've observed why people are not very comfortable with public speaking, because scare or fear is a very, very intense word, I'll say. So
Right.
comfort is something that is different. So comfortable nahi hote because they have a lot of these things, and this comes from the conditioning that we have from our childhood. Each step that we take is always, what will people think? Log kya sochenge? Should I do this or should I do that? And what will people think? What will be the consequences of my action or my words? This has always been taught to us from our childhood. And this remains in us ki when I go and stand there, if I say something wrong, or if I, stammer, if people don't understand what I'm saying, what will people think about me?
Right.
They'll think bad about me, and my image will go down. So this inhibition, this that challenge is there in us, and the first thing we need to do is break this.
Right.
It's very frankly, people don't care. They'll forget that you stammered or you forgot or something after some time because उनके पास बहुत काम है करने के.
Right.
So the first thing is break that, that ceiling or that barrier within yourself that people will think bad about you. The moment you go and stand there on the stage, people think you're confident. चाहे आप बोलो नहीं बोलो.
Right.
Because it takes a lot of efforts. And the second thing is practice. In the sense, public speaking को ऐसे मत समझो कि only if I stand in front of say 10, 50, 100 or 1,000 will I become a good speaker. It starts with one-on-one conversation. जब आप वो comfortably करने लगोगे ना, you'll automatically get comfortable in the amongst the crowd also.
Right.
Don't always find an opportunity कि यार मुझे तो opportunity नहीं मिलती public speaking के लिए तो फिर मैं कैसे अच्छा हूँ. Don't wait for that. Start talking to strangers. Start talking to people. Have a good conversation. Beat anybody around you. Even when you're traveling, have conversations with people. So that will automatically get you comfortable with opening up, and you will be a good speaker. Speaker बनने में कुछ ऐसा नहीं है. Nobody is a born speaker.
Right. So if I were to summarize that, you would say that just show up, like just give it a shot. Don't think what people care and practice. And practice over time makes you perfect.
Makes you perfect. So 15 days ka GMCS, even if you notice, day one में lot of people are uncomfortable. Day
Right.
15 तक आते आते, they're I can speak anything.
Yeah,
So
correct.
that
Absolutely.
development happens over time. It's okay.
Right, right. The other thing is social media today is becoming more and more important. And when I'm saying social media in this sense, I mean LinkedIn, Twitter, to sort of build a brand and network with other, corporates and other peers in the industry. So how important is it today to be on social media sites like these?
Very, very important. And the beauty of social media today is people value content.
Right,
They won't see ki whether you are from this background or whether your age is this much, or are you mature enough age wise, or do you hold a very good position. Only then will they read your content. Of course that matters, but not that much. If you really share good content, if you really are out there having good you're sharing something valuable, people do read and people do connect. So it is not key only because after I reach a certain stage should I be there on or so, be it Twitter or LinkedIn. You should start from early. That's very, very essential, and you build a very good network.
right, right. I can relate to what you just said so much because so I have been active on LinkedIn since the past 1 year, and I think it's really helped me to build myself as an individual. Because the best thing about LinkedIn is you can approach anyone by dropping a comment or reaching out to them in message. In fact, that's how we connected after 3 years.
Yes.
And I've connected with people from the media industry, people from CEOs of different companies, and most people are so approachable. Like if you just tell them that I would like to learn from your journey, or what advice would you give me as a newbie in this field, people are more welcoming than we think they are. So it's more so the inhibition from our end to approach them.
Yes, true. And I'll tell you this incident. So what happened is last week we attended this startup sphere organized by ICI. So what I did 2 days before the event is um, whoever was tagging using the hashtag of the startup sphere,
Right.
I went to their profile, I dropped a message, even I am attending this event. Let's connect. And I think there were 20 people who exchanged the numbers and all, and I met them. And the kind of relations I'll say, or connections that I built with them was amazing. How LinkedIn works is so beautiful. So I was with somebody, and after speaking to one of the connections whom I connected on LinkedIn, I asked her, ki, how much time do I know this person? She's like, no, do you know him for long? I'm like, no, I connected with him yesterday on LinkedIn and we met today. She was so surprised because the kind of conversations we were having, we were so open that she was surprised pleasantly. So that's the power of LinkedIn. People actually, like you said, people are open. You just need to take that step.
Absolutely. The next question for you is that what would be your piece of advice for a newbie, a fresher in the employment field, or a young professional who wants to shine in their sphere? How should they sort of, like you mentioned, it's a very competitive space out there. So how to outshine? Like how can we differentiate ourselves and set ourselves apart?
Good question. See, when we talk about competitiveness, the major factor, and you should always remember this, that you are replaceable. anytime the organization might feel that you're not adding value, and they can replace you anytime with another person. And
Right.
it's because like we said, it's competitive. The organization finds a replacement. Aisa nahi hai. So what you need to do and what you need to build is try and understand your uniqueness. What do you bring on the table? So never run behind fulfilling the KRA. कि मेरा ये काम है, this much is given to me, so I'll just do this much and my work is done.
Right.
As soon as you go there in that phase, you become replaceable. Always add extra. See how is your actions, how are your whatever work that you're doing, how is it benefiting the company? Be it, for example, if you're doing audit, say example, okay, and usually the time is 7, it takes 7 days to complete a audit.
Right.
Hey, you bring that down to 5 days. That's the value addition that you're getting to the table. You are changing some processes which have, which helps the whole operations, or you are, getting clients. Whatever it is, you have to take that extra efforts to bring something extra on the table. जब तक आप वैल्यू नहीं लेके आओगे, कंपनी won't support you or won't be that ki no, please be there with us.
Right.
Okay. So first, find how you are unique, what value can you add, and third, please be open to taking extra initiatives and extra projects. खुद से जाके, I know a lot of people who are they don't like asking for, they want promotion, but promotion कब मिलेगा? जब तुम extra कुछ पूछोगे ना.
Right.
जाके बोलो that I need some extra projects, give those to me. That is how I will learn. But नहीं हो पाता है. So always ask for those extra projects. Your manager will, or your senior will definitely help you. Okay, and keep learning and asking questions. Ask, ask, ask. The more you ask, the more you will learn, the more you will, add value. So
Right.
do that. These things are very important in your initial days.
Perfect. That was super helpful. And I think I can relate to it, since I have also recently started my career. So thank you so much for that. And before we depart, one final advice, a life advice, your experience, just like a summary lesson for the viewers.
Okay. Summary lesson. Summary, or, I just can say is two things. One,
Right.
you already are a brand. Whether you know it or not, people recognize you in a certain way. Okay. But if you really work towards it, if you know what your goals are, I will really suggest build that brand for yourself. Don't let people build that brand for you. Your personal brand should be in your hands. So work on your branding, work on how, understand your uniqueness, work on how do I want people to remember me. Okay, that is very, very important. Second, network.
Network.
Networking is very, very important, especially for professionals, be it a entrepreneur, be it a person working in a corporate, or be it a practicing CA, or any kind of practice. Okay, networking is the key. It will really change the way. And networking is not only to get clients. So
Right.
this is a very wrong conception, and I think this is why people don't like networking, because people feel कि networking मतलब सिर्फ clients चाहिए. No, networking is in a lot of ways. It is to learn, it is to grow, it is to know more about what is happening around you. It is to build those relations, where you can connect to anybody if you are in need. Lot of things for which network is required, and we are humans, we are animals of emotions, so we need those networks. But good quality network really matters. So concentrate. Even if you feel that opposite person might be your potential client, don't only talk to him about work, or don't only push your services or something. build relation, work. जैसे वो आमिर खान ने बोला ना, what was his dialogue? In Three Idiots, the last dialogue.
काबिल बनो, कामयाब
काबिल,
नहीं.
yes, कामयाबी अपने आप पीछे. So, relations maintain करो, clients अपने आप तुम्हारे पास आए. So that's very important. So work on that.
Thank you so much. That was super powerful and super helpful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Vedant, for having me. All the very best.
Thank you so much.